Xiao Ziqi travels to the dream world of the Red Chamber and is the son of a wealthy family in Jiangnan. Unexpectedly, I discovered that I am a child relative to Lin, who is beautiful in the water and weak in the wind. However, after Lin Ruhai's death, the hypocritical Jia family forced him to divorce in order to seize the Lin family's property. He was angry in his heart, but also helpless. By chance, he acquired a trace of divine consciousness that has been preserved in the world by the ancient god of war, enable him to possess an incredible understanding and summon the gods. Afterwards, Xiao Ziqi attacked the Xiongnu to the north, attacked Baiyue to the south, pursued the Chang tribes to the west, and swept the barbarians to the east. The 16 prefectures of Yan and Yun were taken over, and the territory of the Dalong dynasty was expanded again and again. He was granted the title of King Weiyuan and his power was extended to both the court and the people. Accompanied by numerous beauties and immortals such as Shui Baochai, Lin Daiyu, Qin Keqing, Bai Qian, and Hua Qingu. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Crossing the Red Chamber and Acquiring the Spiritual Awareness of Gonggong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Ziqi sat regretfully in the water pavilion, with the purple osmanthus blooming perfectly on one side, but he didn't have the heart to admire the flowers, muttering to himself. Jiabu Fai, Baiyu made a horse for Tang Jin. Xiao Ziqi didn't know if his fate was good or bad, but when he woke up, he crossed over to the world of dream of the Red Chamber and possessed an extraordinary insight. He is now a young master from a family in Jiangnan, and he is also a child's relative to Lin, who is beautiful in the water and weak in the wind. The Xiao family is a family of farming and studying, and has produced 2 imperial teachers and 3 top scorers. Although it has declined somewhat now, it is still not to be underestimated in the city of Yangzhou. But before he could be happy for 2 days, news came that Lin Ruhai had passed away due to illness. A few more days later, the Jia family came to their door and withdrew. The reason is that Jia's mother is really worried about Lin Daiyu marrying away in Yangzhou, without any relatives or connections. She wants to keep it under her nose and personally choose a son-in-law for her in the capital. Thinking of the words of the clan elders in the hall just now, either explicitly or implicitly, they all have one meaning. Jia family, they can't afford to provoke. But that's Lin Daiyu, Lin Daiyu. Thinking of Jia Lian's hypocritical face, Xiao Ziqi wanted to beat people up. Who didn't know that they were bullying Lin Daiyu's orphan daughter and trying to seize her property? Although they feel humiliated and regretful, there is nothing they can do. Who can't afford to provoke the Jia family? Xiao Ziqi was somewhat lethargic, not only the humiliation of being divorced, but also the confusion about the future. This is an era with clear class distinctions, and if he doesn't make any changes, he will have to settle below others, which he cannot accept. He doesn't want to be bullied casually and wants to change his status, but how can he change it? Taking the imperial examination. He is now 17 or 18 years old, and it is obviously not realistic to learn the art of making 8-legged stocks from scratch. From Wu. That's even more unrealistic. People who practice martial arts have been polishing their muscles and bones since childhood, and now learning martial arts can at most strengthen their physical fitness. Having been thinking about how to improve social status and become stronger, Xiao Ziqi didn't even have dinner and lay in bed just after dark, continuing to ponder how to stand out. Xiao Ziqi opened his eyes and noticed lightning and thunder all around him. A golden light enveloped him, and the thunder exploded one after another above his head. What kind of situation is this? How could it still be struck by lightning? The thunder lasted for an unknown amount of time before gradually stopping. The golden light around Xiao Ziqi slowly dissipated, and then he was sent back into the room by a force, lying flat on the bed. Xiao Ziqi tried hard to stay awake in order to distinguish between reality and dreaming, but he didn't hold on for 3 seconds before falling into a deep sleep. At this moment, an old man with white hair and white beard appeared in front of Xiao Ziqi's bed. holding a quinoa cane and having a youthful appearance with crane hair. Fool, you haven't woken up yet. After a while, a pulse of spirit sat up from Xiao Ziqi's body and was startled by the old man beside him. You can't be the Prince of Yen, can you? Humph, I am the Bodhi ancestor, much more beautiful than the child of the King of Yen. Bodhi ancestor. I think I've heard of it somewhere before. I came today because I have something to tell you. You have just acquired the divine sense of working together to stay in this world. Do you know who working together is, co-working? It sounds a bit familiar. Ah, are young people nowadays so ignorant that they don't even know how to work together? Hey, you old man, who do you look down on? Of course I know about working together. Gonggong clan and Zhuanqiu competed for the title of emperor, but were angry and could not touch the mountains of Zhou, folding the heavenly pillar, the Jedi dimension, so the sky tilts northwest, where the sun, moon, and stars are. The land is not satisfied with the southeast, so all rivers and water flow back to Yen. Am I right? Xiao Ziqi was a bit proud. At least we were also a top student back then. You just said, what did I get? Bodhi Patriarch rolled his eyes in an indecent manner, feeling that this kid was a bit foolish. Will the Gonggong be picky? The divine consciousness of Gonggong. Since you know Gonggong, you should know that Gonggong was the ancient god of war and also the god of water. Since you have acquired his divine sense, from now on, you not only possess the ability to defy heaven, but also the ability to summon gods. At the same time, your body has also undergone a transformation. As long as you practice according to this set of methods, you will soon be able to achieve great divine skills. In the mortal world, you can become a hegemon, and if you have the opportunity to cultivate your true form in the future, you can also rank in the immortal class. Really? Summoning the gods. How to call? Do you have any passwords? Nanwu Amitba Buddha. Or open the door with sesame seeds? No, sesame opens the door in the west. Can we summon God? Bodhi ancestor has a headache. He's talking so much that it's causing him a headache. He'd better hurry up and explain it to him so that he can finish his duties. There's no such password. All you need to do is focus your attention, recite the Dharma name of a certain immortal in your heart, and he will appear in front of you. Do you have any further questions? Yes. I can summon the gods. Can I command them? For example, if I ask them to transfer some mana to me, and I ask them to transfer each mana to me, can I not need to practice anymore? Also, can I summon the Taibai spirit star and ask him to give me some elixirs so that I don't have to practice? Bodhi Patriarch's head is even more painful. The gods cannot summon at will, as this is extremely exhausting. Remember to do so. After speaking, Bodhi Patriarch disappeared, leaving only a trace of echo. Chapter 2. Careful analysis of Old Sun's golden hoop stick. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, old man. Xiao Ziqi shouted in dissatisfaction. He still had many questions to ask, and in response, the whole room was silent. Xiao Ziqi couldn't help but feel disappointed as the wisp of soul returned to his body. In the morning, Xiao Ziqi woke up from his sleep, feeling refreshed like never before. With an exceptionally light body, the 5 consciousnesses are particularly distinct, and the chirping of birds and the fragrance of flowers outside are clearly perceived. Looking down, Xiao Ziqi noticed 2 books by the bed, with the cover reading Tai Xin Jing. Xiao Ziqi suddenly thought of that dream. Is it true? Xiao Ziqi felt unbelievable. He looked at his own hands and feet. There's nothing different from before. Young master, you're up. I'll immediately get some facial wash. What came in was Lu Guang, Xiao Ziqi's servant. Xiao Ziqi quickly hid those 2 books. Xiao Ziqi washed his clothes absent-mindedly, wondering if he could really summon the gods and if he wanted to find an opportunity to give it a try. Young master, don't be angry. The young lady from the Lin family has no taste. You will definitely have the 9 heavenly empress to accompany you in the future. Flowing light mourns the injustice of one's own young master. Puff, good, 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 good. Your young master and I will definitely have a 9-day Xian NV with us. Alright, I should go and greet my grandparents. Xiao Ziqi straightened his collar and lifted his foot before leaving. Hey, young master, wait for me. Gonggong also caught up. The Xiao family passed down their family through poetry and books. Mr. Xiao used to be the head of the cabinet, but in the generation of Xiao Ziqi's father, he became somewhat mediocre. The highest-ranking official now is Xiao Ziqi's third uncle, a fifth-rank imperial censor. After the old man retired, his family returned to their hometown and all of them went back to Yangzhou. Cheer, hurry up and come to my grandmother's side. As soon as Xiao Ziqi arrived, she was seen by old lady Xiao. Child, don't be sad. Don't worry, with your grandmother around, let's find another girl from the Lin family. Well, grandmother, don't worry, your grandson won't be upset, and grandmother won't be angry either. In the future, your grandson will find a 9 heavens Xuannu to be your granddaughter-in-law, haha, good, good, as long as you're happy, cough. As the grandparents and grandchildren spoke more and more disrespectfully, Mr. Xiao on the other side spoke up. Grandfather, be well. Xiao Ziqi saluted according to the rules. Well, since this marriage may not be settled for a while, you can go to White Deer Academy to study. Grandfather, as the saying goes. Read 10,000 books, travel 10,000 miles, and grandchildren think of places to take a look. You are already quite old. Hurry up and study, get a good reputation, and you can also say a good marriage. Xiao Ziqi understood Mr. Zhao's concerns. From the Xiao family to his generation, there are currently no outstanding young people with outstanding qualifications. My grandfather has always been worried about the decline of the Xiao family, so he wishes to constantly urge his younger generation to study and take exams for fame. However, Mrs. Xiao thought that Xiao Ziqi must have just been divorced and was in a bad mood, so she thought of going out to relax. Old man, just let Cheer go and have a look. Besides, there's no shortage of children studying at home. Mrs. Xiao certainly understands the old man's thoughts, but there are some things that cannot be forced. Mr. Xiao let out a long sigh, okay, go, go. Mr. Xiao doesn't understand these truths, he only once held a high position, so he is finally a bit unwilling. After having breakfast with the old man and old lady, Xiao Ziqi returned to his yard. He asked Gonggong to pack his luggage for him, while also escorting other servants, before he closed the door and returned to the inner room. Who will be summoned first? The first thing that appeared in Xiao Ziqi's mind was actually the furry-faced monkey holding a golden cudgel. Xiao Ziqi thought about the words of Bodhi ancestor, concentrated his mind, and silently recited Sun Wukong in his heart. Suddenly, a golden light burst through the air, and a familiar voice came. Hey, which immortal sent a spell to summon my grandson? When Xiao Ziqi saw the Monkey King wearing a purple golden crown, wearing a golden armor, holding a golden cudgel, and stepping on cloud-like shoes in front of him, he was bewildered. Hey, which child are you from, who did you learn some magic from, how did you summon my grandson? Cough, that, great sage, I am. I'm probably, it's like this. I have heard too many legends about you in the mortal world. I have admired you since I was young, and I really want to see your true identity. It's probably because of sincerity, that's why I saw you today. You are such a rude child, and I, Sun Dashing, can be summoned as you please. I'll spare you if you're the first offender. If there's another time, be careful with my grandson's golden cudgel. Sun Wukong shook the golden cudgel at Xiao Ziqi, blinked his fiery golden eyes, and then turned into a smoke and disappeared. Who? Xiao Ziqi breathed a sigh of relief. Next time, you need to think carefully. It's best to summon a female fairy. Don't summon someone with a bad temper, otherwise your life will be in danger. Otherwise, summon Sister Xianxia. Xiao Ziqi followed the same approach as before, closed his eyes, focused his attention, and silently recited Xianxia fairy in his heart. But this time, no matter what, he couldn't concentrate and felt very tired. Unconsciously, he fell asleep. Chapter 3. We can't afford to provoke the Jia family. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Xiao Ziqi slept until it was dark before opening his eyes. Young master, you're awake. Lu Guang kept guarding the bedside. Xiao Ziqi saw that the light had already been turned on inside the house, and he struggled to open his eyes, still feeling particularly tired. When is it? It's already Su. Grandmother sighed. The old lady sent someone to ask. I heard you were sleeping, so please don't disturb me. The kitchen has reserved food for you. Is it ready now? Well, let's have dinner. Xiao Ziqi felt so hungry that he could swallow a cow. Because Xiao Ziqi was feeling unwell, he rested at home for a few days before going out. Young master, where are we going? Outside the gate of Yangzhou City, Lu Guang excitedly asked Xiao Ziqi that he had never left Yangzhou City since childhood. Go to the capital. What are you doing in the capital? Of course, it's about doing big things. Do something big. Young master, what big things can you do? Who doesn't know, the seventh young master of the Xiao family is a famous playboy in the city of Yangzhou. He has done a lot of cockfighting and dog walking, and his young master has done the biggest thing so far. He wrote a poem that was widely circulated among the brothel girls in Yangzhou City and was beaten up by his master. Once you arrive, you will know. Xiao Ziqi laughed a bit mischievously. Liu Guang's intuition is that something bad is about to happen, but what can their young master do in the capital? Suddenly, my mind flashed and I realized that Miss Lin is currently in the capital city. Young master, aren't you looking for Miss Lin? Are you looking for trouble with the Jia family? Flowing light is urgent. Young master, that Jia family is not easy to deal with. I heard from second master that one of their relatives killed someone else just to grab a girl. The other party is still a scholar, and in the end, they didn't do anything. Really, young master, we can't afford to provoke the Jia family. Let's not provoke it, okay? Xiao Ziqi knew immediately that he was talking about Xuepan. Don't worry, your young master is even more willing to sacrifice his life than you. I dare not provoke their family now. That's good, that's good. The flowing light wiped the sweat off my forehead. In the future, there's a chance. Liu Guang felt like the sweat he had just wiped dry was flowing out again. Young master. Liu Guang had something to say, but was interrupted by Xiao Ziqi. All right, don't be so motherly. We should go now. Xiao Ziqi first gave Liu Guang's horse a whip and watched as Liu Guang screamed in panic. Xiao Ziqi laughed heartily before giving his horse a whip and chasing after him. Jia family, the hatred of taking away his wife, he will one day make up for it. On this day, Xiao Ziqi and Lu Guang traveled to a large river. The two rented a small boat to cross the river, and the old man in his 50s and 60s was very talkative. Our river is called the Qijiao River. It is said that during the lightning and thunder, someone has seen a dragon emerge from the water, stirring it upside down. The water waves are surging. Is there really a dragon here, old man? Have you ever seen it? Xiao Ziqi is completely speechless and boring. As for the legend, he certainly does not believe it. There are always many legends and stories about mountains, rivers, and rivers. Xiao Ziqi also expressed understanding of this. The ancients always liked to give imposing names like dragon and tiger. This is very normal. Such a magnificent and majestic river, if you call it the Earthworm River, it won't make you stand out in an instant, will it? Just listen to this legend. As for the dragon, legend is purely a legend. The ancients boasted so hard that they couldn't take it seriously. Where are dragons in this world? It's just a speculation. However, at this moment, boom boom boom. Suddenly, just now, the sky was still clear for thousands of miles, and suddenly black clouds overwhelmed the environment, with a strong wind blowing. The waves rolled up on the river surface, and the surging water became even more turbulent. A huge vortex rolled up in the center of the broad river, as if something was stirring up clouds and rain. Xiao Ziqi. Encountering a tornado while riding a boat, and encountering a power outage while riding a roller coaster, which one is more frightening? Well done. Why did the weather suddenly change? In ancient times, there was no weather forecast, so desperate. At this moment, Xiao Ziqi seemed to hear a faint murmur. The sound moved from far to near, accompanied by deafening roars, like a bell and drum. Next, a black dragon nearly 100 zhang tall rose into the air, its hissing echoed through the sky. I'm sorry, the Loch Ness monster may be real. Gonggong and the boatman were frightened and collapsed to the ground. Xiao Ziqi also felt a bit helpless. Is this the protagonist's halo? The many tests he had to go through before marrying Sister Lin. Jiaolong stopped, his pitch-black vertical pupils staring at Xiao Ziqi, and the dragon head swayed gently, like playing coquettish with Xiao Ziqi. Xiao Ziqi was a little curious, so he reached out and touched his dragon head. Unexpectedly, she still rubbed against Xiao Ziqi's palm. Hello, Xiaohe, where are you from? Do you know me? I saw the dragon's head shrink back and shake left and right. He's not called Xiaohe, he has a name, called Longli. Oh, you little one, you've become a sperm, haven't you? Xiao Ziqi touched the head of the dragon again. I'm going to Shangjing, do you want to go? You're so big, I won't take you with me. After speaking, I saw the dragons flipping and rising in the clouds, transforming into a woman in black and gently landing at the bow of the boat. Longli pays his respects to his master. Chapter 4. Saving a Supreme Emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Ziqi was stunned. He remembered that the Red Chamber was an ordinary ancient world. How did you get to him? He's both a fairy and a dragon. Is it possible that he was just wandering around, going from the Red Chamber to the mythical journey to the west? After a brief brain crash, it can be considered accepting reality. Longli, you don't need to call me master, call me Ziqi. Are you going to Beijing with us? Longli dare not, he only wants to accompany his master. Okay, Xiao Ziqi didn't refuse, meeting is fate, not to mention that the other person is still a beautiful girl. The spring breeze is full of friends, it is difficult to find a close friend. It's too strange to call me Penong, why don't you just call me Gongzi. Calling the master makes him feel like a rich and ruthless villain. Even though he hasn't done anything bad. Yes, young master. Miss Longli has a cold appearance and doesn't say much, but she is very respectful. Xiao Ziqi smiled and said with a good mood, hey, okay. How old are you this year? A few 100 years old? A few 1,000 years old? Or a few tens of thousands of years old? You must know many immortals, right? Do you know magic? How high is your magic power? Can you defeat Sun Wukong? Can you become a white horse to ride on? Long Ji. Can't you ride on her true form of the divine dragon and soar through the clouds and mist to explore the world? Why do you have to become a white horse? Xiao Ziqi awakened Lu Guang and the boatman. Young master, are you okay? What can I do for you? You haven't been scared silly, have you? Hee hee. Liu Guang feels a bit embarrassed. Who is this girl? Oh, I just rescued her from the water. You call her Miss Longli? Yes, young master. Fortunately, Liu Guang is a fool, so easy to fool. So, the two-person group became the three-person group. Chapter 3 Unexpected Encounter. Emperor Tai and Princess Linglong. The three of them continued on their way to the capital, not in a hurry, walk and stop, play in the mountains and water during the day, and rest at night. After reading the Tai Heart Sutra in his heart, Xiao Ziqi began to practice, meditating and regulating his breath every night, and practicing along with the Heart Sutra. I don't feel tired during the day, but instead I feel even more energetic. In less than half a month, Xiao Ziqi realized that he had entered the primordial infant stage, with an extremely strong physical body. Every day, he rode or climbed mountains with flowing light. On this scorching day, a few people walked into a forest and suddenly felt a cool sensation all over them. He released the reins and allowed the horse to stroll freely. Xiao Ziqi sat on a horse pondering his thoughts. In his previous life, he was a shining youth idol, but the queen is a pitiful creature, eating boiled cabbage every day. In order to maintain his commercial value, he dares not fall in love or get married. Since he has traveled to this world, he can no longer mistreat himself. He wants to eat all the delicious food in the world and marry a few wives. Xiao Ziqi was thinking of something beautiful, but he vaguely heard someone calling for help. He quickly pulled the reins, identified the source of the sound, and ran towards the direction where the sound came from. The person calling for help was an old man, dressed in a linen robe and wearing only a wooden hairpin on his head. At this moment, although trapped in a predicament, there is an indescribable dignity in every move and gesture. At first glance, they are people who have long held high positions and often give orders. Next to her was a girl of 16 or 17 years old, with a pale face. Although frightened, he still tried to block in front of the old man. "Emperor, Emperor, Emperor, you go first, I'll stop it." The girl couldn't speak fluently, but she still mustered up the courage to protect her grandfather. "Ling'er, don't be afraid. This place is not far from the farewell courtyard, and the guards will definitely hear me calling for help." Huang took a deep breath and continued to shout loudly for help. Immediately after, the two of them heard the sound of hooves. Huang breathed a sigh of relief, and Ling'er wiped the sweat from her forehead. Grandparents and grandchildren dare not walk around alone again in the future. The two people who had just breathed a sigh of relief noticed a black bear appearing in the other direction, and here came a young man and a girl, whose heart had just been lifted. Xiao Ziqi saw the grandparents and grandchildren, as well as two black bears. I saw him leaping a few times before reaching his grandparents and grandchildren, and then moving his palm forward. A force like an overwhelming force shook the black bear in front of him away. Xiao Ziqi was confused for a moment. His strength had grown a bit too fast. The other black bear, upon seeing this, turned around and entered the dense forest, fleeing for its life. Huang completely relaxed and sat down on the ground. "Grandfather, are you okay?" It's okay, it's okay. Grandfather is getting old, but his legs are a bit weak." Xiao Ziqi walked over with Long Li. "Are you okay?" "It's okay, kid. Which family are you from?" Huang looked at Xiao Ziqi. Appearing near the royal palace, Huang instinctively thought that Xiao Ziqi was from Shangjing. "I am a person from Yangzhou, Xiao Ziqi, surnamed Xiao, from Yangzhou. Do you know Xiao Yu? It was my younger grandfather. Are you the grandson of Xiao Yu?" Xiao Yu is a former prime minister and the head of the civil service. "Your Xiao family is a family of poetry and books. Why are you so skilled in martial arts?" "Hehe, I don't like reading, so I learned martial arts." "Grandfather, let's go back to another courtyard first, and then thank this young master well." "Emperor, grandfather, are you the supreme emperor? Be obedient and rumble. Is he the emperor who saves him casually? What should he ask the emperor for this life-saving favor?" "Well, this is Princess Ling Long. Hello, my name is Xiao Ziqi. Nice to meet you." Chapter 5. Do you know the police fantasy fairy? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Huang. Princess Ling Long. Emperor Taishang. Xiao Ziqi, are you coming from Yangzhou to Shangjing? Visiting friends. Looking for relatives. Xiao Ziqi said, "I heard that one can participate in the martial arts examination, so I want to give it a try. It is the responsibility of every individual to rise and fall the country." Thinking that the person in front of him was the emperor, Xiao Ziqi felt that he should establish a positive and upward character. "Oh. How many years have you practiced kung fu? Who is your disciple? I see that your lower body is stable and your palm techniques are powerful, which cannot be achieved in a short period of time." Returning to the emperor, "I started polishing my muscles and bones from a young age. When I was young, I had some opportunities and received guidance from experts, so my martial arts skills were slightly stronger. Next, the emperor began to ask Xiao Ziqi's grandfather about the affairs of Yangzhou city. Emperor Tai, if you have nothing to do, just go to Yangzhou and have a look. The fireworks will set in Yangzhou in March. Besides, you're not the emperor anymore. Anyway, you're just idle. Hee, you're right, kid. Perhaps seeing Xiao Ziqi being open and generous in front of him, and his speech being interesting, the Supreme Emperor enthusiastically chatted with him. Quickly, a few people arrived at the entrance of a separate courtyard. The commander of the guards saw the slightly disheveled emperor and Princess Ling Long, and quickly ran over. I have failed to provide adequate protection, please punish the Supreme Emperor. Xiao Ziqi looked at the marble floor and felt his knees tighten. This habit of kneeling at any moment really makes him feel a bit powerless to accept it. Get up, it's not your fault. By the way, send a few people to Dongshan to bring back a black bear, and we'll eat bear paws tonight. Black bear. The commander of the guard was immediately frightened. If there were any major issues with the emperor today, he and the guards of this other courtyard would have to be buried together. After staying in the royal palace for 2 days, Xiao Ziqi couldn't help but sigh. No wonder so many people want to become emperors. This enjoyment, this temptation, is something that no one can resist. On this day, he strolled around with Liuguang and Lonely. Suddenly, I noticed a lively temple not far below. He climbed up a big tree and took out the telescope he had just made in the past 2 days. I found out that it seemed like a wealthy family came to burn incense, and the carriage and servants went for 2 miles in a row. Lonely, go and inquire about which household that is. Yes, young master. In less than a pillar of incense, Lonely returned. Hui Gongzi is from the Jia family of Ningbo Prefecture and Rongguo Prefecture. Jia's family. It's a bit interesting. Let's go take a look. Young master, no way. That wealthy family has strict rules, and even if you go, you won't see Miss Lin. Liuguang was in a hurry, afraid that their young master might cause some trouble. You should know that this is the capital city, not Yangzhou. I just want to see what the 12 hairpins of Jinling look like. What hairpin? Young master, I know you can't let go of Miss Lin, but we can't act recklessly. What and what? Xiao Ziqi was speechless. Although the revenge for taking a wife cannot be avoided, it is only a matter of a man's dignity. He hasn't even seen any Miss Lin, there's something he can't let go of. Liuguang, you are waiting for your young master here. Lonely, let's go. Yes, young master. Young master, young master. Lu Guang stomped his feet in place, he was really tired. Xiao Ziqi and Lonely rushed to the temple. Lonely, do you know the 12 hairpins of Jinling? I don't know. Xiao Ziqi thought for a moment. Do you know the police illusion fairy? Taishu illusion realm, do you know, the place where Professor Jia Baoyu enjoys his fish and water is called Taishu fantasy realm, right? If there's a chance, he also wants to go shopping, hee. I don't know. I don't know. Xiao Ziqi was shocked. Don't you both belong to the divine realm? Are you lying to me, or is Mr. Chao Shuqin lying to me? The two of them were talking and quickly arrived at the back of the temple. After observing for a while, Xiao Ziqi walked towards a large banyan tree behind the main hall. Xiao Ziqi found a good seat and took out a telescope to carefully observe. This person with silver hair should be Jia Mu, who is joking around by Jia Mu's side. The colorful embroidery is brilliant, like a fairy and goddess. It should be Wang Shifeng. These 3 things in a pile, they should be welcoming, exploring, and cherishing. The one that looks quite rich should be Bao Chai. Xiao Ziqi looked around but didn't notice Lin Daiyu. To be honest, he is quite curious about the legendary Lin sister and her doll. After searching around again, Xiao Ziqi found Lin Daiyu talking to Jia Baoyu next to a tree. Well, she looks pretty good and also fits the aesthetic of the 21st century. She just has a bitter melon face and doesn't have much luck. Lonely, here, take a look at the girls in that courtyard. who is the best looking. Young master, what is this? Telescope, unfortunately I can only make a 6-fold mirror now. With this, you can see those people's faces clearly. Young master, our dragon race is born with different eyes, and we can be as clear as hair even 100 zhang away. Xiao Ziqi. He stole a pair of glass cups that the emperor rewarded his grandfather with, got beaten up, and spent 3 days. I just made a 6-fold mirror that can barely see the faces of those people. This world is too unfair, isn't it? After seeing Sister Lin, Xiao Ziqi returned to the royal palace with satisfaction. My dear brother, I heard you went to see the Jia family girl. How about it? Do you have someone you like? Do you want me to marry you? Xiao Ziqi also discovered that the Supreme Emperor was an old child. After he served him a spicy hot pot, he insisted on holding him to worship. It looks just like that. Xiao Ziqi replied, seeing Princess Linglong on the side, and then continued, not as beautiful as Linglong. Linglong blushed on the side, but she was not good at speaking. After all, according to seniority, she had to call Xiao Ziqi uncle. However, Xiao Ziqi was thinking that although he wanted to avenge his wife, he still had to rely on his own abilities. Besides, the favor is just a little bit, it's gone when used up. He still wants to use this favor in the most important place. Chapter 6. Floating clouds blow as snow, world flavors boil into tea. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the early morning, the mountains and forests after rain have a particularly fresh air. Xiao Ziqi and the emperor walked together on a small path in the mountains, feeling particularly relaxed. In ancient times without industry, air was good. Xiao Ziqi thought of the abdominal breathing he had practiced in his previous life. He deeply inhaled, slowly exhaled, then deeply inhaled, then exhaled again, inhale again, exhale again. Ding. You circulate the Taihe Qi in your body, connecting the Ren and Du meridians. You have a rebellious understanding of the Taoist 9 breaths method of taking Qi. The prompt sound suddenly sounded in Xiao Ziqi's head. Xiao Ziqi blinked and couldn't believe it. Didn't he just take a few deep breaths? In the next moment, the powerful insight fully comprehends the 9 breath conquering Qi method that he has just comprehended. Xiao Ziqi took a deep breath again and felt a clear breath wandering through his limbs and bones, penetrating 360 acupoints throughout his body. Xiao Ziqi was pleasantly surprised in his heart. Wow, this incredible insight effect is also too powerful. By the way, if he remembers correctly, this Taoist method of expelling the old and absorbing the new can increase his lifespan. So Xiao Ziqi continued to inhale and exhale. But the voice in his mind didn't ring again, which made him somewhat disappointed. Young man, what's wrong with you? The emperor saw that Xiao Ziqi had stopped and asked. Oh, it's okay. I just feel the air here is particularly fresh and I want to take a few more breaths. You do have wisdom. Do you know why this mountain is called Baopu Mountain? Can't it be that Master Go has practiced alchemy here? You can say that. Legend has it that the spiritual veins of this mountain are surging, and the spiritual energy is full. One day, Master Go passed by this place and built a foot here, staying for 3 months. The person you took me to see today, big brother, isn't it a descendant of Gu Tianxia? Can they practice alchemy? Not bad. What I'm taking you to see today is a Taoist from Wuxia Temple, named Tianjizi. Although he is not a descendant of Master Gu Tianxia, he is the person with the highest cultivation level in the current Taoist school. As they spoke, the group arrived outside a Taoist temple. Xiao Ziqi looked up and saw 3 big characters at the door. Ruoxiguan. Entering the first door, a serene and elegant feeling rushed towards me, with towering trees and cigarette wisps under the shade. Entering the second door, under a tree like a large umbrella, an old man in white clothes was preaching scriptures. Glancing at the emperor and Xiao Ziqi entering the door, the old man nodded imperceptibly. At this moment, a young Taoist welcomed him. Qi Jusher, Taoist asked me to take you to the courtyard to speak. Another door entered, and Dao Tong wanted to lead the two of them to the side room to sit. Let's just sit in this courtyard, go ahead and soak your Taoist's best old gentleman's eyebrows. The emperor took Xiao Ziqi and sat down in a small pavilion on the side. At this time, the autumn sky is clear and the scenery in the mountains is the best. The emperor sat down gently and looked at the fiery red maple leaf forest behind the house, somewhat lost in thought. Xiao Ziqi was still curious that the supreme emperor was actually a Taoist layman. In this era, people believed more in Taoism. However, after a while, the child brought tea over. A refreshing aroma of tea diffused. Xiao Ziqi took a sniff. It's really good tea. No wonder ancient people risked killing their heads to rebel. This privileged class eats the best, drinks the best, and uses the best. Who wouldn't want to be like that? Young man, taste this old gentleman's eyebrows and see if you like it. Xiao Ziqi first looked at the soup color, then lightly sniffed it, and finally took a small sip. The soup is emerald green, clear and bright, like orchids on the tongue, refreshing the heart and spleen. The emperor also took a sip. Floating clouds blow into snow, the world's flavor boils into tea. Xiao Ziqi looked at the emperor and felt that since entering this courtyard, he had become somewhat silent. What's going on in the mountains? Pine blossom wine, spring water tea. What the little friend said is true. Don't think of your homeland to your old friends, and try new tea with new fire. The white-clothed Taoist who had just preached walked in. The emperor stood up and bowed to the old Taoist. Taoist, this is my sage, Xiao Ziqi, the descendant of the old man Xiao Yu. My wise brother, come and meet Taoist Tianjizi. Good day, Taoist. Xiao Ziqi bowed and bowed. This little layman has a unique skeleton, clear eyes, and a discerning eye. At first glance, he is a person with wise roots. I dare not take it seriously. Thank you very much for your praise, Taoist. Xiao Ziqi was full of respect, but in his heart he was thinking. Indeed, it is the Taoist temple under the feet of the emperor. Look at their worldly wisdom. Tianjizi just smiled silently. The three of them continued to sit down, while Tianjizi and the Supreme Emperor discussed Taoism. Xiao Ziqi leisurely sipped his tea and listened to their conversation. Life is like not being tied to a boat, where to worry and understand, and where to suffer for being a layman. I understand that in the world of life, how can one be ruthless? There are always so many things that cannot be let go in the world of mortals. Don't worry about happiness in your heart, it is the ultimate virtue, remain unchanged, it is the ultimate stillness, have nothing to do with disobedience, it is the ultimate emptiness, do not interact with things, it is the ultimate lightness, have nothing to do with rebellion, it is the ultimate essence. A layman should know the way of nourishing life. Just as Xiao Ziqi was listening attentively, a voice suddenly rang out in his mind. Ding! You listened to Tianjizi's preaching and understood the natural cultivation method of the Tao. You have a rebellious understanding and created the method of nurturing all things. Chapter 7. Natural Mind Method of the Great Way. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tianjizi on one side has also been paying attention to Xiao Ziqi. I saw him nod slightly for a moment, feel lost in thought for a moment, and suddenly realized that this person is extraordinary. The two of them talked for about an hour, but the emperor's face was tired before he, led by Dao Tong, returned to the wing room to rest. Would Xiao Ziqi be willing to accompany me for a walk? Tianjizi smiled and asked. Of course. There is a forest of steels on this back mountain, which was left by our predecessors. Let's go over there. Someone once discovered a stone tablet from the previous dynasty in the vegetable field next to Ruoxiguan. Ruoxiguan built a monument tower in the bamboo forest in the backyard, becoming a scene of Ruoxiguan. The boy takes orders. The two of them left the yard and climbed up the stairs. Autumn bamboo is a time of lush and upright greenery, with a gentle breeze blowing, dancing and rustling. Walking in an oasis makes one feel relaxed and happy. But in a quarter of an hour, Xiao Ziqi saw the forest of steels with cornices and arch of wooden architecture. Xiao Ziqi followed Tianjizi into the forest of stone tablets, stopped in front of a stone tablet, and carefully examined the stone tablet from the previous dynasty. The characters on the stone tablet are round and flying, ethereal and transparent. Xiao Ziqi looked for a while before realizing that half of the Heart Sutra was engraved. Tianjizi turned around and was looking at the words on the stone tablet with his head tilted. At one moment, he furrowed his brows, at another moment, he showed his face, and murmured, "There is nothing but ignorance, and I am old and dead." The bamboo forests on both sides are tall and dense, with bamboo trunks of varying thicknesses, some like the mouth of a bowl, and some like pen holders, crowded and bustling. The branches and leaves stretch out, and business is thriving. Xiao Ziqi was tall and jade standing, dressed in a moon-white robe, with a faint and ethereal appearance. Ding! You have observed Master Gu Tian's cursive Heart Sutra, and your understanding is against the heavens. You have comprehended the path of the primordial world and created the 8 consciousnesses returning to the Yuan method. Ding! You have observed the cursive writing technique of Master Moj, and you have comprehended and created the meaning of the Great River Sword. With the sound of prompts in his mind, Xiao Ziqi felt his vitality circulating throughout his body. Every cell seems to have ears and eyes, and even the slightest vibration of bamboo leaves in the forest can be felt. Xiao Ziqi remained light and stepped back, holding a bamboo branch, with a posture like a crane. I saw him using bamboo branches as his sword, dancing quietly like a subdued tiger, moving like a flying dragon, slow like a wandering cloud, swift like lightning, steady and graceful. He steps on the 64 hexagrams, as if heaven and earth are one great Tai Chi, and the human body is one small Tai Chi. Suddenly, the sentence that Xiao Ziqi had heard in his previous life rang out in his mind. He is strong, let him be strong. The clear wind brushes the hills, he is horizontal, and the bright moon shines on the river. He is cruel to himself, he is evil to himself, and I am full of true anger from a single breath. So suddenly, Tianjizi noticed that Xiao Ziqi's sword intention had added a touch of roundness and dilution, as if all things in heaven and earth were in his embrace. It was already an hour later when Xiao Ziqi stopped. Congratulations to the little monk for achieving enlightenment. No, it's just enlightenment. Tianjizi once again asked Xiao Ziqi to sit on the ground and teach him the method of regulating his luck and breathing. Half an hour later, Xiao Ziqi opened his eyes and felt his heart as clear as ice, with a calm and joyful aura. Thank you for your guidance, Taoist. It's all your own chance. The little monk should be a person with great fortune. If you can meet the little monk, how can you know it's not the fate of a poor path? Xiao Ziqi didn't quite understand either. These ancient people were already speaking with a hint of confusion. On this day, old Master Ji was once again a practitioner, and his speech became even more unclear. The emperor wanted to stay overnight, and Xiao Ziqi naturally accompanied him. At night, under a wooden tree, Tianjizi and the Supreme Emperor are brewing tea. Picking yellow flowers with dew, cooking purple crabs with frost, boiling wine and red leaves. Why are you cooking tea? The emperor played with a red maple leaf. Alcohol harms qi, tea nourishes essence. The emperor did not answer the conversation, but was mesmerized by the sight of the red leaf. The flames flickered, causing his face to turn bright and dark. Tianjizi took the leaf from the emperor's hand and threw it into the fire. Forgetting things can nourish the heart, forgetting emotions can nourish the nature, forgetting the realm can nourish the mind, forgetting the color can nourish the essence, forgetting oneself can nourish deficiency, forgetting everything can nourish everything. You're a boring person. The one you brought with you, Xiaojiu, is quite interesting. Oh. How do you say that? The emperor's face showed a hint of interest. This person has a remarkable understanding and a clear mind. Along the way of Taoism and nature, there will be great opportunities. I think he may be my chance. Oh. You. Are you referring to the lamp runner? Yes, my master has been practicing for hundreds of years as a member of the mixed element fruit position for preaching, but he has never been able to preach. I think this Xiaojiu will be a chance. From that day on, the Supreme Emperor stayed at Wuxia Temple and never mentioned leaving. Xiao Ziqi doesn't mind either. He happens to be able to go and observe the forest of steels, so he went to the forest of stone tablets every day, either practicing breathing or observing the stone tablets. Qingjie, Zhuangzi, Baizi Steel, Cuishu Chapter, Cuishu Yin, and so on. Xiao Ziqi observed these Taoist classics day by day and was unexpectedly enlightened by a set of mind techniques. He named them the Great Tao Nature. In the early morning, Xiao Ziqi was practicing the natural mind technique in the bamboo forest when the heavenly opportunity came. Good morning, Taoist. Xiao Ziqi greeted Tianjizi with a smile. Hello, Ziajushi. My master, Taoist Randang, wants to meet Ziajushi. I wonder if it's convenient. Of course it's convenient. You see, I'm almost free growing grass. Do you call this understanding a set of mind techniques in Chapter 8? You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the afternoon, Xiao Ziqi, led by Tianjizi, went to visit the lamp-burning Taoist. Just the appearance of the lamp-burning Taoist, how can I say? Perhaps influenced by Li Mubai in his past life, the Taoist priests he thought were all so ethereal, dressed in flowing white clothes and exuding an extraordinary temperament. But he forgot that there was also a Taoist deity named Zhongkue. In front of the bamboo house, 3 people sat at a stone table, each with a pottery cup in front of them. Xiao Ziajushi, according to Tianjizi, have you comprehended a set of mind techniques in the forest of steels? Well, yes. Can you show us what you can do? Xiao Ziqi nodded, put down the pottery cup, first closed his eyes, and meditated into stillness. After a while, both Randang Daoist and Tianjizi felt the change in Xiao Ziqi, and a chaotic aura spread out, centered around Xiao Ziqi. He scattered towards all things in the world. Gradually, both the lamp-burning Taoist and the heavenly mysterious sun were enveloped in it, and Xiao Ziqi's own figure seemed to have disappeared before his eyes, leaving only a trace of breath. Tianjizi heard a faint sound from the pottery cup in the hand of the lamp-burning Taoist, and cracks appeared on the wall of the cup. The hot tea flowed out from the crack, but in an instant, it felt like time was flowing back. The seeping tea was collected back into the teacup along the crack. After drinking the tea from the cup, the Taoist Randang regained his natural expression. But a faint thought rose in my heart. Is he the chance that my master called him? After about 2 more cups of tea, Xiao Ziqi's figure slowly returned to the mortal body from a transparent shadow. The lamp runner looked at the heavenly machine. Do you call this understanding a set of mind techniques? Yes, master, the little layman has comprehended a set of mind techniques, which seems to be a unique spiritual consciousness. The Randang Taoist glanced at Tianjizi and let out a deep sigh. This disciple has average talent and can only be an ordinary cultivator in his lifetime. This is not about comprehending a set of mind techniques. It is clearly a unique set of mind techniques. With this, it is enough to establish a sect. A clear heart is like water, clear water is like the heart, a gentle breeze does not rise, the waves are not startled, the 10 directions of emptiness disappear, all belong to silence, good, 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 good is a natural road. The lamp-burning Taoist smiled and praised Xiao Ziqi, who had just opened his eyes. Master, isn't this the one spirit one consciousness method? No, this is a more powerful mental method than the one spirit one consciousness method. Its uniqueness lies in its ability to bring all things from heaven and earth to my heart. The Taoist has a high opinion, it is indeed so. Upon hearing Xiao Ziqi's confirmation, a surprised expression appeared on the face of the lamp-burning Taoist. On the side, Tianjizi's eyes were wide open. This is not a single spiritual consciousness, but a cultivation technique evolved by Xiao Ziqi in a short period of time based on the scriptures on the stone tablet. This is too unbelievable. Is there only such a genius in the world? If that's the case, then what is the level of talent of this junior brother? Perhaps, can one become a true immortal? Thinking of the legend of ancient immortals recorded in Taoist classics, Tianjizi thought to himself. At the beginning, there was the way was natural, and the doors of various wonders were both mysterious and profound. The little layman was indeed a person with wise roots. Taoist, there's no need to be like this. The so-called green bamboo is always the Dharma body. The depressed yellow flower is nothing more than prajna. If Huang Hua is prajna, prajna is merciless, and if the green bamboo is Dharma body is like grass and trees. I thought that on the path of cultivation, it doesn't matter whether one gains the way or not. Bodhi is not a tree, nor is the mirror a platform. There is nothing in the world, so where can dust be stirred up? The way is understandable, it is extraordinary, a name can be named, but it is not a special name. We do not seek to verify the Tao, but rather seek a Tao heart. Okay, the little monk indeed has great wisdom. The lamp-burning Taoist left Xiao Ziqi to continue discussing the Tao until midnight when he was fully satisfied. Xiao Ziqi also gained something from it. After listening to the profound teachings of the burning lamp Taoist, he unexpectedly came up with a set of Wuxiang Prajnaparamita techniques. The lamp-burning Taoist also benefited greatly. Despite decades of cultivation, he still struggled to attain the fruit of the mixed element in his teachings. After chatting with Xiao Ziqi, he finally realized his shortcomings and realized that he had not yet reached his realm. Since then, the lamp-burning Taoist often discussed with Xiao Ziqi, either sitting in front of the bamboo house, each with a cup of tea, discussing some classics. Or we can observe the forest of steels or natural phenomena together, and understand the law of mutual generation and restraint of all things, or we can meditate together and meditate in silence. It was not until half a month later, when the birthday of the emperor was approaching and he was about to return to the capital, that Xiao Ziqi left with the emperor. At the entrance of the mountain, looking at the backs of the two who had left, the lamp runner's eyes showed regret. Master, why don't you keep Xiaoju? This Xiaoju has never entered the Taoist family, but he is able to comprehend the profound teachings of the Taoist family and can comprehend the Taoist family's mind based on all things in the world. The incredible level of its qualifications is beyond words for Tianjizi to describe. This kind of talent may not even be visible to him in the future. With such a talented junior brother, perhaps he can also benefit from it and further his cultivation path. A person with exceptional talent is sure to carry forward the words of their family. A disciple with unparalleled talent can change the development of a sect for 100 years. We are idle clouds and wild cranes, while this Xiaoju is a majestic eagle in the sky. We have our Tao heart, he has his pursuit, and we cannot force him. But if he can stay, why don't I worry about Taoism? Tianjizi, I know you want to promote my teachings, but the Tao is natural and cannot be changed by human labor. Yes, master. I want to stay in seclusion, and all affairs in the sect will be taken care of by you and Tianjizi. Okay, master. Chapter 9. The return of the Supreme Emperor to the palace and the royal prestige. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. This is the first time Xiao Ziqi has seen the royal prestige, and that battle was really big. This sense of ceremony can indeed make people submit. However, the two people in the car didn't look very happy. The emperor was more serious, no longer giggling like usual, while Princess Linglong had a worried and uneasy expression on her face. A flash of lightning flashed in Xiao Ziqi's mind. The prince's daughter is a princess, so whose daughter is this Linglong princess? The daughter of the emperor, who has been with him for years. Xiao Ziqi thought of the statement about the current emperor's ascension to the throne. Today, the holy emperor is the fourth son of the supreme emperor, who was granted the title of King of Chu. He also had 3 older brothers in front of him. The second brother died young, and the eldest and third brothers became adults. At that time, the eldest brother of the Holy Emperor was the Crown Prince, but today the Holy Emperor is most favored by the Emperor and has fought in both the south and north, achieving many military achievements. More importantly, at that time, the King of Chu was surrounded by a group of capable and talented individuals, while the Crown Prince was already mediocre, and all the ministers in the court praised the King of Chu. These all violated the Crown Prince's taboos, which led to the assassination. But no one expected that in that assassination, the King of Chu killed 2 older brothers and eventually ascended to the throne as the current emperor. Ling Long, the imperial grandfather, knows you don't want to go back to the palace, but since you are already 16, your marriage should be decided. These will ultimately require the queen to take care of. The emperor sighed. Princess Ling Long is the daughter of the former crown prince. She was only 5 years old back then, and when the incident occurred, she happened to follow her grandmother to Jiangnan province for marriage. After returning to Beijing, he also saved this child with all his might, and because she was just a girl, the current emperor did not pursue her further. Grandfather, Ling Long doesn't want to get married and wants to be by his side for the rest of his life. Her parents and family are all sinners. In this city full of capital, no one dares to marry her without risking their lives. Even if someone marries her, the days ahead may not be easy. Foolish child, you are still young. Your grandfather can still live for a few years. Don't worry, he will definitely find a good family for you. Grandfather, if there really comes a day, Ling Long is willing to accompany the ancient Buddha with green lanterns. Ling Long urgently said, she had already thought about these things. Instead of getting married and being trampled on by others, it would be better to be quiet and be an ant. Grandpa knows what you're worried about. Don't worry, although he's the emperor, I'm his father. I'll definitely. Cough, cough, wait. Xiao Ziqi quickly spoke up, and both the emperor and Princess Ling Long looked at him inexplicably. What's that? Emperor, Princess Ling Long, let me change to a carriage. He doesn't want to die yet. People who know too many secrets often die faster. Is this royal dispute something he can afford to provoke? Looking at Xiao Ziqi's expression of, I don't want to die, the words that the lamp-burning Taoist had told him echoed in the emperor's mind. This person will have great fortune, and for the country, this person will be a pillar of talent. For you and me, this person will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. My dear brother, the Supreme Emperor looked at Xiao Ziqi with a smile on his face. Xiao Ziqi inexplicably felt a gust of Yin wind, and this old fox was going to remember him. Well, big brother, let's talk about something. Don't laugh like that, I'm afraid. Don't be afraid, big brother can still protect you in this capital. Just, big brother has something to ask for, hee, big brother's business is my business, but big brother, you know, I'm just an ordinary person, and my energy is limited. Do you have limited energy? The emperor rolled his eyes, and Ran Dang told him that this kid's cultivation is even higher than his. Okay, let me ask the emperor to bestow a different surname king on you. You have to promise me something. Xiao Ziqi was even more afraid. The prince was not so easy to bestow, and he had to pay a great price. Big brother, you're too polite. If you have something to do, just give me an order. As long as I can do it, I won't refuse. I don't ask much, but when I'm gone in the future, if possible, I hope you can take care of Ling Long. The emperor paused for a moment before speaking again. Since that's the point, let me be honest with you. Ling Long is the daughter of the former crown prince, and I believe you have also heard about the current situation between the emperor and the former crown prince. The current emperor is my son, and I know him well. Since I have let him go back then, he will no longer be difficult for Ling Long. You don't have to worry about this. It's just that Ling Long doesn't belong to her mother's family, and her parents and brothers still hold the status of criminal officials. I'm afraid she will be difficult for others in her husband's family in the future. Looking at the little girl in front of me, I stubbornly bit my lips, but tears never flowed down. Xiao Ziqi sighed. He is still too kind. Don't worry, big brother. You don't need to crown me as a king. As long as Linglong needs it, I will do my best. After all, I can also be considered her uncle, right? Xiao Ziqi readily agreed that this little girl should not be a big deal, and she could not rebel. At most, she would fight for a flower in the backyard. This king still needs to be in theft. Even if you support Linglong in the future, you still have a prominent position. The emperor said so, but he thought to himself that since Ran Deng said this boy was a talented person, he would certainly keep him for his son. Since ancient times, the heavenly family has been very lenient, let alone the fact that what happened back then was not his fault. He was also the one who was calculated. But those two are dead after all, and the current emperor is the winner, so he doesn't know how to face it. After all, the two who died were his sons, the children he had once held in his arms and hurt. Chapter 10. You have to call him Uncle Huang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone in the palace knows that the Supreme Emperor only returns to the palace twice a year, once for his birthday and once for the Chinese New Year. The birthday of the Supreme Emperor was approaching, and the palace was prepared early. The palace where the emperor resided needs to be cleaned, and all the tea sets and tableware that the emperor likes must be prepared. The servants must be carefully selected. 3 days before his birthday, the palace had already begun to display lights and decorations. At this moment, Emperor Chen of the Heavenly Emperor is standing on the Lingyan Pavilion, looking at the palace adorned with red and colorful decorations. The one brewing tea in the pavilion was Lu Yu, the childhood attendant of Emperor Chen, and the current Grand Secretary of the Cabinet. Although it was not me who was wrong at the beginning, I also expressed that as long as I could protect the lives of my family and the lives of my esteemed officials and their families, I could not be the emperor. It was he who insisted on passing on the throne to me, but over the years, why did he continue to do so? At this moment, Emperor Chen is no longer the majestic emperor, he is just a son who is dissatisfied with his father. Lu Yu shook his head and continued to brew tea. The father and son, who were clearly most concerned about each other in their hearts, remained so awkward. Why aren't you talking? Your Majesty, the tea is ready. This year's old gentleman's eyebrows were specially sent to the palace by the emperor. Lu Yu has already brewed the tea. Emperor Chen felt a bit discouraged and sat down awkwardly, picking up tea to drink. In fact, the emperor knows in his heart that the emperor is not blaming you, he just can't let go of the former crown prince and Prince Yu for a while. Of course, Emperor Chen understood these things, but he was once the most favored son of the emperor, and he inevitably demanded more from his father. Emperor Chidan, the Supreme Emperor, has already entered the city. The Empress Dowager has asked the servants to come and invite the emperor to go to the Vermilion Bird Gate to welcome him. Emperor Chen's face showed surprise. Why did you return to the palace so early this year? In previous years, it used to be the day before your birthday, didn't it? Emperor Chen stood up while speaking and strode downstairs. Outside the Vermilion Bird Gate, one could see the emperor's ceremonial guard slowly approaching from a distance. Just as everyone thought that the emperor would enter the palace in a carriage as usual, the ceremonial guard stopped. Even the seemingly calm Emperor Chen showed surprise on his face. The Supreme Emperor, along with Princess Linglong and Xiao Ziqi, got off the carriage. Emperor Xianxia and the Empress, along with a group of princes and ministers, hurriedly welcomed them. Son, daughter.in.law, respectfully welcome Father Emperor back to the palace. I respectfully welcome the Supreme Emperor back to the palace. Okay, everyone get up. The Supreme Emperor looked at the crowd with a smile on his face. Get up, get up. Come on, Emperor, I'll introduce you to someone. This is Xiao Ziqi, my recently sworn brother. You need to call him Uncle Huang. Come on, give him a shout. Xiao Ziqi. Heaven is going to kill me. I offended the big shot from the very beginning. How should he get along? Emperor. Officials. I'm deaf. I didn't hear anything just now. Watching the emperor's face gradually change, the emperor felt extremely satisfied. Father, it's already cold today and the wind is particularly strong. Let's go back to the palace first. The queen immediately came out to smooth the situation. Okay, just listen to the queen. The emperor also knew that he couldn't completely provoke the emperor, so he stepped down from the donkey. Linglong and Ziqi both live with me in the Qingxin Hall. What's that, emperor? I'll just stay at an inn. Xiao Ziqi quickly spoke up. The emperor had no way to deal with the emperor, but dealing with him was like pinching an ant. He doesn't want to wake up tomorrow morning. He broke a cup and was given a stick of red. You don't need to be polite, young brother. You can stay with me at the Qingxin Hall. As the Supreme Emperor spoke, he pulled Xiao Ziqi and walked towards the palace. Emperor Chen swallowed his anger and followed the empress with a group of princes and grandchildren. The ministers wiped their sweat and said, "Finally, we can get off work." In the evening, Emperor Chen held a family banquet to welcome the Supreme Emperor back to the palace. The emperor must have Xiao Ziqi attend. So when Xiao Ziqi appeared at the family banquet, the hall was so quiet that even a needle could be heard. The people in the palace, who are not human spirits, hold a wait and see attitude until the emperor's attitude towards Xiao Ziqi is clear. Neither intimate nor offensive. The rules in the palace are extremely strict, and there are clear regulations on seating arrangements. This is awkward. According to theory, Xiao Ziqi is a sworn brother of the emperor, so his position should be higher. But this sworn brother has not yet received the emperor's approval, let alone passed through the ancestral mansion, which makes it appear somewhat unnatural and illogical. Uncle, if you don't mind, just sit with me. Just as Xiao Ziqi was in a dilemma, Princess Linglong spoke up. Xiao Ziqi looked in the direction of Princess Linglong. Her seat was in a corner, with a large pillar blocking it, so she wouldn't be seen by anyone in the main seat. Upon seeing him, Xiao Ziqi found that it was exactly what he wanted, so as not to encounter him and think of the afternoon. Just as Xiao Ziqi was preparing to take a step forward, the Supreme Emperor, and Empress arrived. Everyone knelt to the ground, and Xiao Ziqi also knelt in the crowd, trying to reduce his sense of presence. However, the emperor will not let him go as he pleases. Young man, come over quickly and sit with me. Xiao Ziqi really wants to faint.